years ago, when I entered the third year of my undergraduate course, our head of department came to our class. While speaking to us, she casually said, "Once students enter the third year, every batch grows a tail. You all become monkeys." She meant we would become more difficult, more questioning, harder to manage. Something about that statement bothered me. So I asked her, "Ma'am, you say that this happens every year. Every batch reaches third year and becomes like this." Then I asked, could there be another possibility? Could it be that once we enter third year, you begin looking at us through that label? She was very much annoyed with me. But later, she came back and told me, "You made me think." I was a young student then. But today, after decades of working with children and parents, that conversation makes me think too. Because I hear parents saying, "My child has changed. She argues about everything. He doesn't listen. She wants too much of privacy. He questions every rule." And yes, your child has changed. Your child has changed. They are supposed to. But before we label that change as teenage attitude, I want us to ask something. Has your child become difficult, or has your child outgrown the way you're used to parenting them? The 8-year-old who said, "Okay, Amma," may become the 14-year-old who asks, "But why?" And that why can sound like disrespect, when sometimes it is the beginning of independence. The child who once wanted you to decide everything may now say, "Let me decide." The child who told you every tiny detail may now close the door and want some privacy. And our first thought can be, "My child is moving away from me." But maybe not. Your child may not be moving away from you. They may be moving towards themselves. And that's where we have to grow too. Because the parenting that worked beautifully when a child was 8 may create conflict when they are 14. Not because you became a bad parent, not because your teenager became a bad child. The relationship has entered a different stage. When they were little, we managed much of their world. But adolescence gradually asks us to move from managing behavior to building judgments, from demanding obedience to developing responsibility, from holding control to building influence. And perhaps that's one of the hardest transitions in parenting, because we still have to be parents. There must be still boundaries. There must still be accountability. There must still be guidance. But the question changes from, how do I make my teenager listen to me, to how do I become the parent my teenager who still wants to listen to? That is the shift. So today, don't begin with your teenager. Begin with yourself. Think about one behavior that has been frustrating you recently and ask, has my child become difficult, or just the stage needs something different from me? Because adolescence doesn't only ask children to grow, it asks parents to grow with them. That's exactly what we are going to explore together. We'll talk about behavior, silence, understanding, disagreement, boundaries, independence, and the difficult transition from managing our children to preparing them to manage themselves. So, if you are parenting a preteen or a teenager, stay with me through this. And I also have something practical coming for you. Behind the behavior, 7 questions to ask before you react to your preteen or teenager. I'll tell you more about how you can get it as we, for now, follow along. Let's now move to the question every parent needs to ask before judging a behavior. What don't I know yet? I left you with one question. What don't I know yet? Today, I want to tell you why that question became so important to me. There was a grade 12 boy I knew very well, bright, studious, comfortable talking to me. But whenever I gave him an affectionate pat on his shoulders, he would pull away. I noticed it, and unfortunately, I interpreted it differently. I formed an opinion about his behavior before I understood it, until one day I gently asked him why he seems uncomfortable now. What he eventually shared completely changed my understanding. From grade 6 onwards, another male had repeatedly crossed his physical boundaries. Think about that. From grade 6 to grade 12. For years, this child has been carrying an experience I knew absolutely nothing about. And suddenly, the same behavior which I had interpreted earlier looked completely different. The child hadn't changed. My understanding had. That experience taught me something that I've carried into with every conversation about children since. Adults respond very quickly to what we can see. The slammed door, the angry answer, the falling marks, the silence, the phone, the refusal. And then come the labels. Lazy, rude, stubborn, secretive, difficult. But the moment we become certain about the label, we become curious about the child. Now, please don't misunderstand me. Understanding behavior does not mean excusing behavior. Teenagers need boundaries. They need consequences. They need accountability. But behavior also deserves investigation. Sometimes we overreact to the last chapter without knowing what came before it. So, before your next reaction, try replacing what is wrong with the child, what I don't know yet. A boundary can correct the behavior, but curiosity may reveal the child underneath it. Parents, I want to understand what you are navigating now. What is the hardest with the preteens or teenager right now? Silence? Anger? Marks? Phone? If this is the stage of parenting you're navigating, stay connected with me. You also find more parenting resources. What if your child has a story to tell but doesn't feel safe telling you? Can your child tell you something that you don't want to hear? Knowing that there is a story isn't enough. Your child has to believe that it is safe to tell you. And sometimes parents normally close the door. Think about this. Your teenager comes to you and says, Amma, I need to tell you something. Watch what happens in the next 5 seconds. Your face, your eyes, your voice, your first question. Because sometimes those first 5 seconds will be the door to open or close the next conversation. Over the years, many students have shared their difficult story, and I've realized their fear is not only what will happen because I've done, their bigger fear is what will happen if my parents come to know of it. That should concern us, because explosive reactions necessarily make children not to reveal but to hide. Sometimes we simply teach children to hide mistakes. Please don't confuse emotional safety with permissive parenting. A teenager can feel safe telling you the truth and still face consequences. You can say, I'm glad you told me. I may not be happy what had happened. We will deal with it. But I'm glad you came to me. Listen first, understand, then guide, correct. Set the boundaries. That is not weak parenting. That is calm authority. So tonight, I want to ask yourselves an uncomfortable question. If my child made a serious mistake, will its first thought be, shall I call Amma and Appa? Or Amma and Appa should never find out? If truth feels dangerous at home, silence begins to feel safer. And if you ever reacted first and later wished you could have handled the conversation differently, I've created something practical for you. It's called Behind the Behavior, 7 questions to ask before you react to your preteen or teenager. It's completely free. Use those 7 questions before the next difficult conversation, because sometimes changing our first response can change what our child is willing to tell us next. Once we make truth safe, another challenge appears. Because sometimes your teenager does tell you the truth, and the truth is, I don't agree with you. What then? Is it disagreement, or is it disrespect? Or is it an independent mind beginning to emerge? Your child needs boundaries, but also a voice. So, what happens when your teenager says, I don't agree? For many of us, the instinctive response is, don't argue with me. But before we say that, there is something worth separating. Disrespect and disagreement are not the same thing. Think about the adult you're trying to raise. You want him to resist peer pressure? You want him to recognize manipulation? You want him to question something unsafe? You want him to say no when everybody around him says, come on. Everybody does it. But where exactly do we expect them to practice this voice of saying no if the voice at home is not allowed to be safe? But where exactly do we expect them to practice having a voice if having a voice at home is called disobedience? Your home is their first rehearsal room. Now, a voice doesn't mean a vote on everything. You are still the parent. Safety can be non-negotiable. Values can be non-negotiable. Some decisions will remain yours, but your teenager can disagree with your decision and answer can still be no. You can say, I want to understand why you disagree. Tell me. Listen, and then I understand your perspective. My answer is still and no, and I'll explain why. That's authority without humiliation. Correct, respectful delivery. Do not punish independent thought. Because one day you won't be standing beside them when somebody pressures them to make a dangerous choice. And in that moment, I don't want your voice to be the only voice to be obeyed. I want them to develop their own. A child having a voice does not weaken your boundary. It prepares them to have a voice when you're not there. So the next time your teenager says, but I don't agree, don't immediately ask, why are you not arguing with me? Ask yourself, am I correcting disrespect or am I uncomfortable because my child thinks differently from me? Because those are not always the same thing. But once we allow them a voice, we have to allow something even harder. The opportunity to make some decisions and make mistakes at times. That is where our instinct to rescue enters. Stop solving every problem for your teenager. Giving teenagers a voice means gradually giving them responsibility too. And responsibility comes with something parents find it very difficult to watch: mistakes. Your teenager forgets an assignment, has a disagreement with a friend, gets into trouble because he didn't plan something properly, and immediately the parent in you wakes up. We call, we message, we explain, we negotiate, we fix, because watching our children struggle is painful. But over the years, I have learned to ask myself a harder question. Am I rescuing the child from the problem or rescuing myself from the discomfort of watching my child struggle? There is a huge difference. Of course, serious situations require adult intervention. Safety, abuse, bullying, anything beyond the child's capacity. Step in. But everyday difficulties, a forgotten assignment, a manageable disagreement, a consequence of poor planning, a disappointment, these are not always crises. Sometimes they are training grounds for adulthood. Because resilience is not built by hearing, don't worry, Amma will fix it. It is built through experiences like, I made a mistake, I faced the consequences, I figured it out, and I recovered. So instead of immediately saying, I'll handle this for you, ask, what do you think you can do? What are your options? What will you do differently tomorrow? You haven't abandoned your child. You're right there. But you have moved the thinking back to them. And that's more important because we are preparing our children for rooms we will never enter. Don't keep clearing the roads for your child. Prepare your child for the roads. Parents, before you solve the next problem for your child, your teenage child, try something. Ask, is this something my child genuinely cannot handle, or something I'm finding difficult to watch my child struggle and handle? That's exactly why I created the free parent reflection sheet behind the behavior 7 question ask before you react to your preteen or teenager. Keep it with you. Use it before you react, rescue or take over. But here's the harder question. As our children become more capable, how do we know that our help is still helping and when it is time for a step back? Because the parenting that they needed while they were at 8 may not be the parenting they need at 14. Parenting that worked at 8 may fail at 14. Think about your child at 8. You packed their school bag, managed the timetable, checked everything, reminded them what to carry, solved the little problems. And that wasn't over-parenting. That was parenting. Your child needed you to do those things. Now, picture the same child at 14. If you are still packing, checking, reminding, deciding, solving, and monitoring every small detail, something has to change. Not because you're doing less parenting, because the job itself has changed. Adolescence is a job reassignment. You are gradually moving from manager to consultant. When they are little, I'll do it for you. Then, let's do it together. Later, you do it. I want you to do something. Forget the teenager sitting in front of you for a moment. Picture them 10 years from now. Stay with that picture for a moment. 10 years from now, they have their own income, their own home, their own relationships, their own decisions, their own lives. They don't need your permission anymore. They don't have to answer your call. They don't have to tell you where they are going. They don't have to take your advice. And now ask yourself, will they still want to? Because parental control has an expiry date. Influence doesn't have to. That's what this entire teenage shift is really about. We are gradually exchanging control for influence, management for guidance, instructions for conversations, supervision for trust, dependence for capability, and authority for relationship. This doesn't happen suddenly at 18. We are building it now. in the way we respond when they disagree, in the way we react when they tell us the truth, in whether we investigate behavior before labeling them, in whether we allow them to solve manageable problems, in whether our boundaries preserve their dignity. Because the goal of parenting is not to create a child who needs us forever. I don't want my adult child to calling me because Amma will be upset if I don't. I want them to call him because I want to talk to Amma. That's different. One is obligation, another is relationship. Parenting a teenager is not about losing control. It is about training temporary control for lifelong influence. So after everything we've explored together, I want to leave you with one question. What kind of adult is my parenting preparing my child to become? Who can think without me, make decisions without me, recover when I cannot rescue them, tell me the truth when the truth is difficult, and still come back to me when they no longer have to. If something in today's conversation made you look differently at your preteens or teenagers, I've created a practical resource for you. Behind the Behavior, 7 questions to ask before you react to your preteen or teenagers. It's completely free. You'll find the link in the description. When you get your copy, I'll also ask you one question. What is the biggest challenge you're facing with your preteen or teenager right now? I'm asking because I'm preparing a free 1-hour parent session to go deeper into the challenges that you are facing with grooming your preteen or teenager. If you are interested, you can also register in the same link. Let's not just manage teenage behavior. Let's understand the person behind it. One day, one lesson, one better version of you. Till the next pearl, ponder, progress, and prosper with Pongal.